Alright, in this video I'm going to introduce you to the PGMS expense sheet. This is based in Microsoft Excel. The purpose of the expense sheet is to bring together three different types of expenses that you're going to incur regularly, and we need to report these every 2 weeks along with your timesheet, so it's going to follow the same pay period. The three areas that we need to report on are personal expenses for business purposes that need to be reimbursed. That's going to be this largest area over here on the left. The second one is any purchases made with the fuel card. That's specifically for business fuel. And then the third is going to be any purchases completed with the company issued credit card, which needs to be expressly business purposes again. The areas that we need to fill out include the employee name, but also the pay period range. And that's going to be, again, the 2-week range that follows your timesheet. And generally that ends or begins Sunday morning and ends Saturday night every 2 weeks. Once you fill out your name and the pay period information, it auto-populates in the upper right-hand corner for your employee name as well as your pay period. It rolls over, so you don't have to mess with that. It's critical that you keep your receipts, keep them in a safe spot. A good spot is potentially like the glove compartment of your vehicle. A good example could be like an envelope. Again, those receipts, you need to hold on to them to turn them in. Now, any personal expenses and any credit card purchases need to have receipts submitted. Fuel card expenses, you'll want to hold on to the receipts until you've had enough time to record them in your expense sheet, but it is not necessary to turn in the fuel card receipts. It's only important to have the accurate amounts and dates. The expense sheet does calculate for you the totals and subtracts advances, if applicable, at the bottom. You do not have to mess with any of these numbers here. All right, let's take a look at a spreadsheet that's already been partially filled out as an example. So you'll see in this expense sheet, we filled out the employee name, the pay period range, and the information for each one of the three categories. There were some personal expenses with the employee's money that need to be reimbursed, completed at these dates. They made sure to fill out the day of the week as well, and they gave a good description. This description here, auto wiper blades, is descriptive enough that the office understands how that money is being spent, and it qualifies the purchase. If you put something down like supplies or stuff, that's not descriptive enough. That won't be accepted. So make sure that you take a little bit of effort just to qualify what it is. Do your best. It doesn't have to be a book worth of items, but do your best to try and describe what you're purchasing. And then the other part, you'll notice all these different columns here. Try not to use miscellaneous too much unless it doesn't fit in the other ones. Phone expenses could include like a phone charger, phone case, possibly phone bill. Office would relate more to perhaps paper, printing maps, printer ink, pens, pencils, highlighters, and the like. Vehicle expenses can include fuel if you have to purchase fuel with personal funds, or any kind of vehicle maintenance, tolls, anything of that nature. Food obviously relates to business meals, or possibly a business meeting over dinner. You could put that under there. Accommodation generally relates to hotel expenses. All right. All the totals are automatically provided at the bottom. You don't have to do any of this. If there were any advances from prior payments, prior timesheets, prior overpayments of expenses, that can be reported here and it will automatically subtract from your total reimbursement that you'll be receiving. Very rare that happens, but just to be clear, advances can be provided, especially if you're having to travel. That might be something that we would provide to you. Next, again, the fuel card. Fuel card expenses need to be tracked with the amount and the date. The receipts do not have to be turned in, but you should retain the fuel card receipts up until the point where you enter them into your expense sheet. Then the last portion, again, company issued credit card purchases. You need to record the date. Service provider is as simple as saying, where did you buy it from? Was it Walmart? Was it Taco Bell? Was it Flash Gas? Make sure that you put down what the purpose is. From time to time, the fuel card may not work. If that is the case, it's preferred that you would use your company issued credit card to make that purchase. If the fuel card is working, do not purchase gas with a credit card. This refers to whether the expense can be billed to a client. Fuel obviously is not, so we would put down no in this case, along with the dollar amount of the purchase. Here's an example of some replacement trees that were purchased on behalf of Boone County REMC. This is a billable expense because it was authorized by the client, and so we would put that down so that the office knows to pass that on the next invoice. It's been very important to do. Again, the expenses from the company credit card, fuel card, and personal expenses are all subtotaled down at the bottom on your behalf, along with any reimbursement if applicable. In most cases, you will not be filling out personal expenses. Most expenses should be filled out under fuel card and company issued credit cards. If you have any special notes pertaining to this expense sheet that you need to pass on, maybe a special note about how to expense a billable credit card purchase, or perhaps some additional information that the office would need, feel free to fill it out in here. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward, and any questions can always be forwarded to the immediate supervisor, or if necessary, to the office. Thank you, and I hope this helped you.